Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Hoang podcast experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what is good, everybody? How the heck are you? This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, rocking it out with another episode of the Kim Hoang podcast experience, coming at you live and on location over in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, at the Kicked Up Fitness gym. And it's a really cool gym that has all the trimmings of everything that you want, whether if you want traditional like weight workout, or if you want circuit training, or if you want like a MMA martial arts based kind of training. This facility has it. So if you ever are in the Annapolis Junction area, stop by over at Kicked Up Fitness. Talk to my boy Sean Queen, who is the proprietor of this place. You might know that name because he's one of the executive producers of a movie that myself and my guest was in. You might have heard it. It's called Miscalculated. That right now you can actually check it out either on Tubi television for free, if you don't mind the commercials, or if you really want to support, buy it over on Amazon Prime Video for $4.99 for the high def version. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a great time. It's an awesome moment because this guest of mine actually just said, hey, can I get back on here? And I was like, dude, we are due for a round two. Now, this guest is one of the benchmark guests because he was one of my very first guests on Season 1, Episode 4. And that is a long time ago. We're now in Season 3. We're glad to have him back. You know him as him being an actor. And like I said, he was in Miscalculated. He is an accomplished martial artist. And he's got a new trick in his sleeve. He is a stand-up comic. So, guys, whenever he's coming over to your town and performing, you better check this dude out because, he's like wildfire. I've checked out a couple of video clips, and this dude is funny. Like, he really is. So please support him in this endeavor. I got nothing more to say other than the fact that my good friend, my martial arts brother, and fellow actor is here. Zach Malakoff is back on the scene. Zach, what's going on, big time?
Man, nothing much, Kim. It's great to be here. And I just got to say, if you could just come to every mic that I do as a comedian and just host that mic, because that was probably the best introduction as anything, but as a comedian, that was the best introduction as a host that I've ever received. So that was impressive for sure. It's natural with you. So no, I'm nothing, man. I mean, what's new since we last talked is pretty much everything. I mean, I've gone through life as everybody does, stumbled around. I'm sure we'll get into some stuff, but
right.
It's nice to just be able to come back and talk as friends and be back on another film set together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much we're really going to talk about that, but, or what.
Well, we'll talk about it as much as we are allowed to without giving too much away.
Exactly, yes. So I'm like, did I just give everything away by saying we were on a film set together? Like, that's my... See, I don't know what I'm supposed to say or not supposed to say.
I think you're good. I mean, to be fair, we were actually here earlier today.
Tubi, speaking of Tubi, Miscalculated on Tubi, but to be fair, as you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. To be fair, yes. And, we actually just got done with just rehearsals and so forth and going through the motions of a new short movie that will be coming through the pipeline. And I have mentioned about it that the new upcoming short film from Adam Vaughn and his rendition of Fatal Fury, and we will definitely be talking about it. But, dude, let's go ahead and let's jump back into a couple of things. Just for if people forgot, we'll review a little bit. You're from Mo County, born and raised.
Yep.
You are a martial artist. Classically trained.
Born and raised.
Yep. I mean, you studied Taekwondo, have a black belt in that. You have also dabbed in, I believe, in like either the northern or southern Shaolin style of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You are also a BJJ practitioner.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to see how much homework you've done at this point. I'm like, how far is he going to go down this rabbit hole? Yeah. What else?
I know enough. I know enough to actually, qualify that I can at least state the fact. And if I miss something, you probably be like,
I think you're my closest friend at this point. You named off my whole, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy. No, man, you're going to start showing up in like old family photos.
Oh,
like
God.
You've been there the whole time.
Yeah, you know what? I might be that old Asian uncle with like the shag hairdo from the 70s.
Right.
And the cheap like polyester suit.
Where do you think I learned Kung Fu from?
Oh, God, no. Don't say that now. Sifu, you didn't hear that. You didn't hear that from the grasshopper.
That's the comedian part.
No, there you go.
If anybody forgot. Yeah, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. No, yeah, I do. So Taekwondo, I grew up doing, my dad was my instructor for that.
Right.
I got lucky to find a Shaolin monk who was teaching in the Rockville area. I started doing Kung Fu, which I still love, and Jiu-Jitsu, I started in a Hoist Gracie school, so I was lucky to find that, and I've moved on, moved around, jumped around, been able to train with all different places. I'm currently at Standard Jiu-Jitsu, which is one of the top schools in the world.
Okay.
And they're just churning out champions like the Corbet brothers, and they have some up-and-comers there that are just incredible. Every time I go there, I go home like, damn. I don't even want to think about, all that right now because they just kick my ass all the time. But no, yeah. So jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, again, man, every time I think about this, all the martial arts I do, I start thinking about all these people who are up and coming and that are just going to be like, people are going to start seeing them soon.
Right.
Angel Lopez is another Muay Thai, fighter. The kid, I love that kid, and he just won a belt I think last night.
Nice.
But I mean, I think he's only 18, and he's just kicking ass and taking names. And so Muay Thai, Judo, I've been doing as well. I have a brown belt in that. Pretty much, yeah, if you can name it, I've at least done it maybe once at least, even like the Krav Maga, XMA was always real fun for me. I was teaching gymnastics for a while.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, I got, I'm not working there anymore.
You're not
So
kind of moved on?
Yeah, we've moved on from that, so we don't even need to mention their names.
Yeah,
so,
fair. No, fair.
Yeah. I'm not, if you don't have anything nice to say,
then don't say it at all.
or become a comedian and say it at a show, So, yeah, so.
Dude, it just seems like with every bit of, martial arts that you have encountered, whether if you have studied it or if you just dabbled in it, it almost seems like you're trying to become a little bit of the modern day Bruce Lee almost, because he almost kind of did the same thing in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Lee was obviously a very big, inspiration growing up.
Yeah.
I think for all martial artists, and it's funny with the jiu-jitsu and the grappling community is there's that rift of people, who are like, oh, well, Bruce Lee wouldn't have been able to do this or do that. And I think as people who choose martial arts for a lifestyle, at the core, we know that nobody's the perfect martial artist and is going to be able to do everything 100%, and that his focus was where he was at the time.
Right.
But as a martial artist, at his core is what the inspiration is, right? So learning, taking what works for you and discarding what doesn't. The philosophy more than the art form, I think for that. But
correct. Yeah.
So now, more so now, I look at him and the philosophy less of taking the martial art from him.
Right.
But when I was doing Kung Fu and Taekwondo, that was just all. It was BruceLee movies. I just copied everything. Like that was it.
That's
that was
fair.
The guy,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
him and Jackie Chan and Jet Li. I mean,
Now you probably get this question like a lot, so I'm going to be the one that will be again probably be like the 20th person that probably asked this. Being that you are from a classical style of Taekwondo and of Kung Fu, why all of a sudden throw jiu-jitsu in the mix? Like what kind of sparked that interest, and what made you finally say, you know what, I got to implement that. I got to be training in this on a regular basis like I did with my previous arts.
Surprisingly, not a lot of people ask me that. It's definitely come up in conversations as martial artists. We've discussed it, but it's doing Taekwondo, and a lot of people who do Taekwondo might not like to hear this, but I grew up in like a lot of boys, there were arguments and scuffles, we'll call them, but I had grown up and gotten into a few scuffles where roundhouse kicks to the head did not work for me. And I had grown up in a school where, even though we were more Taekwondo based, our master had done boxing. He grew up in a rough neighborhood. He understood the value of grappling, and we had brought in some people, and some of our black belts had already been dabbling in MMA and jiu-jitsu. And so when I was younger, I had seen it, and then when I got older, I kind of realized that, like, I'm tough, but, like, when I have fought people, I've automatically gone to grappling, knowing nothing about grappling. And now that I've done it, I can safely say that if you are someone who needs to learn self-defense or just wants to be confident that, whatever the case is, jiu-jitsu is one of the few arts where you can subdue someone without really damaging them.
Right.
Which some people say, well, just knock the guy out or whatever. But in our world with context, you have to be able to hold someone down without making them bloody, because if you're the two of you there alone and you're defending yourself, but the officers show up and all they see is you on top of the guy and he's knocked out and blood everywhere, it's not going to look good. So
right.
It's, for me, it's just with the world that we live in, it's kind of the blocker from the striking arts. It's like I'll use those if I have to,
right? But
I can wrestle someone, take them down, subdue them without throwing a punch.
True or false? They say that most of the fights, 90% of the time, end up on the ground. True or false?
I would say it's true. I mean, I would say it's just if you're talking about street fights, I would definitely say it's true in a self-defense context. If you go on World Star and you look up fights where people are squaring up to each other,
right,
and they just want to throw fists, that's different.
Right.
So, anybody could, again, it's all context and what perspective you want to take on it. But I would say definitely in a self-defense context, yes.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. And I've seen videos where you're like, if you're not training in, BJJ, you're actually competing in BJJ tournaments. Yep. Whether it's like no-gi, gi, whatever. But, you're doing your thing, man. You're like, rolling with the movers and the shakers that are currently, doing it right now.
Yeah, for sure. I've taken a little bit of time off to heal some injuries.
Okay.
And in doing that, have focused a lot on comedy. So, but yeah, I do anytime I can and I feel healthy, I love to compete. Obviously, there's levels, and so like I said, the people at Standard are these guys. If you know what ADCC is, it's like the Olympics of grappling. And our guys are working their way and getting to that level of winning those tournaments, And but I'm not there yet. As far as, I wouldn't say my skill level isn't there, but I would say injuries have held me back from getting to the complete whole picture of being someone who can compete at that level,
Right. It's just not your time yet, because knowing if you are at 100%, then you would have the chance to kind of be at that upper echelon of competition. And that's important as a martial artist, and as people should know in general, when it comes to, physical pain and you're feeling it, the rule of thumb is that if you're in pain and if you're feeling it, don't do it. It's not worth the risk.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's how bad do you want it? Like I know there's plenty of people that are in pain and they're doing it and they're going and they're winning. It's just it's not worth it to me longevity wise to hurt myself and then not be able to compete again.
Yeah,
I would much rather, and it's still something that maybe I might have to come to terms with not being able to do it professionally.
Right.
But it's definitely something that I would rather grow up and have kids that can, play with their dad and grandchildren that can play with their grandfather and not be able to hold up a kid because I was too busy holding off some dude trying to strangle me, So it's definitely a mindset, Some people are just have that dog in them,
Yeah, I feel that. When it comes to like your martial arts training as general, not like, I'm training specifically at this time frame in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm specifically training in, this style of martial arts and this style of martial arts. Like, let's say if we had a calendar week, if we're looking at from Sunday through Saturday, what is your training schedule like for martial arts as a general thing during the week? Like, where do you see it, and how do you divide it?
I'm definitely not the best scheduling wise, but I would have to say that you can't do everything. You just can't do everything.
Right.
As far as memory goes, spaced repetition is the best for me. Right. So as I think it is for everybody. So I just, if I don't need to practice my Taekwondo forms, I teach it still.
Okay.
And so I can go over it once or twice really well when I teach it.
Okay.
And I'll be good with that, because if I spend any more time doing that, I'll take time away from jiu-jitsu or take time away from other things that, and because I did Taekwondo my whole life, right? So the basic forms, I really don't need to go over as much because of all the other things I'm doing. It's not like I'm not practicing, but I'm just using my body in other ways and doing the more difficult things, So as far as Taekwondo, I usually focus more on doing it when I'm teaching the kids, do it the best. That way they can see it the best. And then Kung Fu, really, I do Kung Fu when I'm just like, man, it's time to do a form, and I want to review it.
Yeah.
And then jiu-jitsu is one of the things where you have to have a partner, right? So I got to go find during their time. I can't do it during my time.
Right.
And so, yeah, but honestly, a lot of my training isn't even martial arts. It's more calisthenics.
Okay.
Because to me, it's more important that I keep my body in a shape where I can do things.
Yep.
Versus just trying to jump around and do everything, right? If I can maintain mentally what needs to be done, but I can just stay healthy and stay strong and then come back to it later, it'll be just as good to me, as doing it 5-6 times or whatever.
Nice.
So
let's go.
Rambled a little bit there, but
No, dude, that's great. Now let's segue a little bit into the acting element. We met each other back in 2021, I do believe, when we were actually filming Miscalculated over, I believe we were over at Ellicott City. Yeah. We were over, and this is, I guess I can spill the beans on it because it's been long since then.
Time flies, man.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was over at a hair shop
Yeah.
over at historic side Ellicott City. Yeah. I mean, to review that, I mean, how did you hear about Miscalculated? And, if you did do a auditioning process, how did that happen? How do you think that it went? And let's just go from there.
Yeah, my recollection was someone posted something on Facebook on a martial arts page. I just went and just rolled with that, and I just showed up here at Kick Up Fitness,
Yep.
and I just sat down and and Romel was there, and he just basically said, what do you want? I said, whatever you have. Like
wow,
yeah,
that was pretty direct.
Pretty much, because it was I think a little bit later in the casting, and I had very long hair at the time.
I remember. I miss it,
and I miss it too. But it's not very conducive to a lot of characters, I feel like, on screen.
Okay.
I feel like me with long hair, there's not really a script that fits that person personally. But and Romel kind of felt the same way, because he said, cut your hair and we'll give you another part or something. I know he was messing around, but I agree with him actually on that part. But
yeah.
So yeah, they basically said, what do you want? I said, what do you have? And they were like, we got some henchmen. You think you'd be a good fit? I said, cool. And that was pretty much from there on, and it's cool because it was really spur of the moment. And then after that, we went on, did the podcast together. We got the movie. Now we're doing this film, which, I think you said the name of already, but I'm not going to do it just in case. And yeah, I mean, it really was just like random. And that's kind of how I like to do things, is random. So.
What did you like? How did you? What do you think that your experience was with Miscalculated? Like, how do you think that went?
I mean, it was good. We all got to meet each other, and we've all stayed in touch, which I think is probably the biggest benefit, is just being able to meet new people and, be on good terms with each other and be friends with each other. And the movie came out, and I think everybody was happy with the result. Yeah, I mean, I think it went well. Again, it got me in touch with Adam, with you, and I get to do cool things like be in another film and be on a podcast, and, so for me, that's a win,
Right.
It got me more into acting, a little bit, I guess, because I'm here now on the other set. So but for me, that's pretty much because it was such a small part in the film, but I feel like how I do everything, I'm a short person, so I like to do everything big.
Yeah.
I have a small man complex, so everything I do has to be. So they give me a small part, and I'm a small man doing a small part. I got to make this 11 seconds, the best 11 seconds in the film.
Right.
But I really do try to do everything to the best of my ability. And so even though it was a very small part, I feel like personally it is a part that when someone sees the movie, whether they like it or not, that they'll be like, oh, that dude got his ass kicked. Like, that's, I got my butt kicked and I did it well. And that's what that matters to me. So,
I mean, it's funny. I actually saw Miscalculated the other day because, ever since I got the news that it was now being sold on Amazon Prime and for $4.99, the first thing I said was, damn, I'm going to buy this shit. Because, what movie can you get full length for $4.99 on high definition? That's rare, number one. And number two, I definitely wanted to support the project, obviously. So that's the reason why I got it. But when I watched it and I, went back from from the beginning to end, and when we got to our part, what we were doing, I honestly thought that you did a really good job, and all the other people that, had the quote unquote small parts. I think that their fight scenes were really well done, because when you're doing something like that and you're being very physical, and I'm telling the people out there in the public land, as a form of your education, it's not just all about the kicks and the punches. I mean, it's a part of it, but when you're actually forced to do a lot of body movement and to move this way, to throw this kick, and to do whatever, it does take a lot. So it's not as easy as you look. As it looks. It's cool. But to actually be able to pull the ability to do certain techniques, That is a mark of a true master, in my opinion. And you know,
For sure.
you did it well,
Thank
as
you.
well as other people that did it well. Like example, Trey and Shanita Parker, they were in the mix.
Yeah.
They did their stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
And you know, my hat's off to them. Let me see another person that I have to think. One brother by name Quentin. Yeah,
Yep.
Quentin was in there, and he did pretty good. You know, adding his classical flair of classic Olympic Taekwondo into the mix, and it looked pretty good too. You know, to our brothers in Cameron Whittington, Zach Knox, and even Timothy Apollo. Holy crap! What they did, not easy.
For
Not
sure.
easy.
Yeah.
So for those that are actually thinking, "Oh, I can do that," no, absolutely not. I challenge you to go ahead and look at that movie and to do exactly what we did. It is not easy.
And I think a lot of people don't think about the logistics that go into it. If you watch a real fight, it moves so fast you don't see a lot of times. That's why they do the slow motion replay. And when we're doing a movie, we can't just throw punches and kicks. We have to throw it in a certain way from a certain angle where the camera makes it look like we're hitting. Because obviously, if we're all beating the crap out of each other, you only get one take.
Correct.
Two if everybody's really durable.
Yeah.
But so you gotta you have to really do it in a certain way, and for the type of film and the budget and just everybody coming together, it was really well done. It was everybody was able to get their parts in and do them in a way where we all were able to enjoy the continuity of the film, and it was just a great film overall on Amazon, $4.99. Maybe you could have gotten it for family or friends over the holidays, and you didn't because you miscalculated.
Yeah, I sure did.
But it's not too late. It's never too late because there's always another holiday around the corner. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It would not be a bad idea. Get it for your lovely girlfriend or your boyfriend out there,
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, you just tell them, I'm sorry, I miscalculated. That's all it is. So it turns into a nice little joke, and you get to watch a fun movie. So
Yeah.
there you go. $4.99 on Amazon or free on Tubi. All right.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
What did you think, like, when Rommel and everybody said, "Hey, we're now going to have a premiere," and it was over at the Greenbelt Theater in Greenbelt, Maryland. We're going to have 2 showings. I mean, what were your thoughts when you finally heard, "Oh crap, we're going to have a premiere and we get to see it on the big screen"? Like, were you surprised? Were you shocked, or were you a little bit nervous when you heard about that because you only remember what you filmed but didn't know what everybody else did? I mean, how were you feeling on the inside?
I thought it was really awesome to be able to see it on the big screen, but to be 100% honest with you, I did not realize that there was a pre-screening of it before the red carpet premiere.
Right.
And so I showed up for the pre-screening and nobody was there, and it was just me and my girlfriend, and we watched the whole movie, and then we walk outside and there's lines of people, and we were just like, what? So we were saying hi to every oh, hey, it's great you're here for the movie, and
right.
I'm just like, and I don't mind sitting through it again, and I'm like, yeah, but we had already sat through it, and my girlfriend and I were hungry, and so we were gonna stick around, but honestly we missed out on that, on the red. We got the best part of it, I feel like, which was everybody lined up and the hype for it and getting in.
Yeah.
And honestly, the same way you get a certain feeling of everybody being in the theater, we had like a very cool but different feeling of being the only 2 in the theater. It was really cool. It was really cool. So no, it was fun, and I've watched it again, and the whole experience was just fun. Yeah, but I totally messed that up on the premiere.
I got to be honest with you, bro. Like, I was there. Obviously, I was at the red carpet event segment you were at the first one. So when I saw you come out, I was like, okay.
Yeah, you were there.
You know, I was like thinking to myself, okay, one of two things probably happened. Either A, you know, you know, there was a couple of actors that went to the first showing, and that's because, you know, they just didn't have time to go to the second showing. And that's fair.
For sure.
And I thought that was your situation. Or the other situation was you were trying to get the second showing, the red carpet, but it sold out, and you were like, fuck, now I got to go over to the first showing. So I took that as that was
we showed up to the first one, and then I wanted chicken tenders, and that's
fair.
That was pretty much I was like, I have to just say hi to everybody before I leave. So I did, and I didn't tell anybody I wasn't going back in because everybody was so hype, you know.
Yeah.
It's like if you're there and you're like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. It's like, well, what the hell, you know? So I just said hi to everybody. Everybody went in, had a good time, and I just snuck away.
That's fair.
So no, but it was cool. I did enjoy seeing everybody, and there was a lot of people dressed up, and that was why also I'm glad that I didn't stick around because I was medium dressed up. I was dressed down as.
But you weren't. But like Romello came in with the all pink suit, though.
I do remember.
I'm like, yo, he came out straight out of the Barbie movie.
He came in, and the Pink Panther song started playing.
Oh God! Oh God! You know what though? Romel did say that he prophesized that was going to happen. I didn't believe it, but. God bless him because, I mean, that just proves that he is a man of his word. So, big blessings up to Romel for doing it that way.
Yeah, you want to talk about logistics and people not knowing what goes into something. We talk about the fight scenes. That's just the microcosm of the film, right? And so, especially someone who isn't a martial artist, who has to oversee that and the trust that he has in the martial artists to get those fight scenes right.
Yeah.
And the trust that he has in everybody to do the jobs that they're supposed to do while he's at the same time making sure that it all happens, because there's that mix of delegating what needs to be done versus doing the stuff that you need to do.
Right.
And man, he got it all done. I mean, he crushed it. So for sure.
Which now has led you to the present time, another great opportunity. Because now it's 2024.
Yep.
You have now been casted as part of the new film of Fatal Fury, directed by Adam Vaughn, who was also in Miscalculated.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, because we just got done training for that for today, and many more. Training sessions and rehearsals to come later on. But how did you hear about that, and what were your feelings when you were offered, this particular opportunity?
Yeah, let's see if I remember that correctly. It was kind of like a mutual. I think Adam was just looking for people. He had people in mind, and it was something where he knew me from Miscalculated. He liked what I had done there.
Right.
But there wasn't any specific part in the film where he thought this was what I had in mind for you. So he likes... All I'll say is I'm very good at getting my ass kicked on film.
Oh, God.
So if you are a producer of a film and you need someone to get their ass kicked, that is my prerogative. So I'm excited, to be a part of anything. I don't care if it's a small part or a big part. Obviously, who doesn't want to be the star, right? That's why I get up on stage and tell jokes, and it's my time, right? It's my time down here.
Yeah.
But like to be on film and like I said, you guys we're all friends, we all get along. So it's not like I have to do this and I have to do this film and I don't want to be here with these people, but I got to work on my career and, like whatever. No, it's chill and it's fun. It's hanging out with friends, and it's cool to be a part of something and to show off my ability to get my ass kicked, so
Right on.
that's what jiu-jitsu has done for me, for sure.
A lot of people, like, back in the day, because, we're martial artists and, we're also kind of like big nerds at the same time. When we think about like the stuff like this, like, making a movie based out of a video game, a lot of people remember like stuff like, hey, I remember Street Fighter, or I remember Mortal Kombat or something like that. Did you remember, as a kid growing up, the video game Fatal Fury? And did you ever play that game when you were a kid?
I never played it, but I remember vaguely. I was definitely more of a Mortal Kombat kid.
Okay.
And then Street Fighter at arcades. So Mortal Kombat more at home, Street Fighter more when I'm out and about. But Fatal Fury was just for me, it was like, okay, it was another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I know it, and I'm going to jump on board and be, it's so cool.
For sure.
To be like, that's an awesome thought for a remake and an adaptation, adaptation
Right.
for something, video game to real life. And it's not like it's just a very good premise to work with, martial arts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything like for us, like anything that's like, martial arts included or martial arts theme, that's already like half the battle.
Yeah.
And I think, as us being martial artists and trained martial artists, that's kind of in our wheelhouse. We're like, okay, great. All right, awesome. I think the other half is just like, the acting aspect. And I mean, that's something that can be worked on. But if you have at least one part of the equation, you do have a sense of comfort. Like, okay, then I'm good.
For sure.
I'm good. Now, I know probably somebody has not asked you this, but I have asked many of actors before.
Let's do it.
And that is, what do you think, in your opinion, makes a successful actor or somebody that wants to be an actor in that world? Like, what do you think, like, the secret of the success is, or what do you think the required ingredients are to that recipe?
What a question. What a question to ask a non-successful actor. But
come on, I mean, you've acted already, so I mean,
I mean, if you're, so again, it's a perspective thing. If you're talking about a career, it's about who you know. It's always about who you know. Comedy is the same way,
right?
And so it's. But I mean, if you want to be a successful actor, then act. Turn on your camera or go in the mirror and act, and find friends who want to be in a film and do little silly films. I mean, it depends on what level you're on, right? If you can afford to take classes, take classes. I can't afford to take classes.
Fair.
Right? So for me, it's like, look in the mirror and think of dead puppies, right? Like, so,
right.
But a lot for, like I said, it's if you're talking about successful in the business, you can be a very good actor, but if you don't get out there and network, and that's the same for any business, if you don't network, you're not going to meet anybody who's going to put you on, right? And so even if you're a comedian and you're very funny, you get off stage and you don't introduce yourself to anybody, you just leave, you're not likely to get booked for anything,
right?
And it's the same for acting, but if you want to get good, you have to realize that it's not you, right? So it's the same with comedy. It's not. It's things when I'm doing comedy, I'm saying things that are funny.
Yeah.
It's not always true.
Right.
Sometimes it is. It just depends. It always depends on the context, and it's the same for acting. You're not. A lot of people feel embarrassed because they're like, "Oh, I don't want to portray this way in front of other people," or but
yeah.
You can't really worry about what other people think because they don't know.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I mean, that's a whole struggle in itself, but I think nerves get to a lot of people, but they don't help you.
Right.
And it's easy to say that, but in the moment to have to tell yourself, like, these nerves aren't going to do anything for me, so take a deep breath and just get out there. I'm pretty lucky, whereas just my lifestyle, I can just turn it on and off with people I'm around.
Right.
So I teach kids, and with kids I can pretend to be angry for a second, and they, they know I'm joking, or I'll, oh, I'm sad, because you're not listening to me. It makes me so sad, and whatever,
right,
silly
right.
stuff. With kids, I can do any, bounce off the wall. I love making my girlfriend just give me the, like, what the fuck face, right? Like, where I'm just normal, and then all of a sudden and she's like, what are you doing? Who are you right now? Type of thing.
Right.
So just kind of back to what you were asking, is what makes a successful actor is just don't take yourself too seriously. Because then you're going to hold yourself back from really showing emotions, which is what acting really is.
Gotcha.
I feel like,
Yep.
you need to portray a certain thing. And if you are like, well, I don't want to be the, a lot of men, I don't want to be the one crying because whatever.
Right.
It's like, well, first off, there's no issue with that. But on the other hand, like, there's no issue with men crying. But on the other hand, if you do have an issue with that, well, that person on the film isn't actually you. It's somebody else that you're portraying, right? So,
Yep.
Again, there's so many different things I could probably talk about for hours, but this will be my second film. So, again, take my word with a grain of salt, some lime, and tequila.
Oh, there you go. Oh, man. Now, I mean, Zach Malakoff, the stand-up comic. Like, dude, like, I did not know. Like, honestly, like, when did you decide, what? Let me just take the proverbial gun and, and aim at that target and shoot it. Like, when did this happen? Why did this happen?
There is a joke in there about shooting things that I'm just not going to make because of the nature of this podcast. But I just wanted to say that.
Fair. That is fair.
No, but people keep asking me, when did you first realize that, you want to do comedy? And my answer now is, well, I got reprimanded a lot in elementary school.
Okay.
Right? Like, for most little boys, would just get in trouble for being goofy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the first spark, I think, like, when I look back on it. But I've always been someone who quips. Like, when I'm just talking, the more personal I am with someone, the better it'll get. Like, I think a lot of people, if they know me or they think they know me and they hear this and they hear the part about me saying I'll be with my girlfriend and I make her be like, what the fuck, whatever, they're probably like, I can't imagine him doing something. But then other people are like, yeah, I know exactly what, he's saying. It's just,
right.
It depends on how comfortable I am with the person. But I've always been goofy, but I've always kind of gone by, there's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
And so a lot of people don't see that side of me. They see a very serious, stoic side. Someone who's close to my family was like, I can't believe Zach's a comedian. We can barely get 2 sentences out of him. And I've grown up feeling like, and everybody, I wasn't heard growing up. At least to me, I felt like I wasn't heard growing up. And so now it's like, well, now I have a microphone. So if you don't want to listen, you got to leave. You know what I mean? So before it was like I would talk and I felt like people would always talk over me.
Yeah.
Now with a microphone on stage, I have at least 5 minutes where I can say whatever I want. And I want to get laughs, but I could really say whatever I want. And if I'm okay with the silence in the room, then, all power to me. So, but really, what really made me go and start comedy, I've always loved comedy. I could list off tons of comedians that have inspired me, and I'm sure we can get there later, but I was sitting there talking to my girlfriend, and she just laughs at me, and she goes, you should put that in your thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And she goes, your thing where you make people laugh. And I'm like, are you talking about like my stand-up routine? She's like, yeah, that. I'm like, I don't do comedy. Like, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Right.
And so at the time, I had never done it. Yeah. And she was just like, I always make my girlfriend laugh. I figure that's the best way to not be in trouble is if she's laughing, she can't be mad at me.
Right.
Right. So, sometimes she'll be mad and I try to make her laugh and I just dig my hole a little deper. But, whatever. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, hey, maybe I am funny. Unfortunately, like I said, injuries. After I went to a tournament and I lost, and I knew I shouldn't have lost, it was a moment for me to say I need to, if I keep trying to compete and trying to train and I'm not ready, I'm going to keep taking time off. So I've taken some time off and really focused on comedy. Unfortunately, they're about the same time of day.
Yeah.
So I still struggle. You could probably hear it in my voice. Still struggle with the decision of not training as much.
Yeah.
To go do something else.
Right.
But comedy, since I've started it, has just been a snowball effect for me. It's very hard to break into.
Yeah.
And I'm still like a newborn baby with it. But every time I finish, somebody says something to me that really inspires me and really is like, you should keep doing this. And so I want to. Comedy is definitely something that's going to be in my life forever, and I think it's a great thing. I think everybody should laugh. I think it's one of the things that will be able to break down a lot of barriers. There's always going to be people who get offended.
Yeah.
But, I think that's their, I don't want to say responsibility, but it's
their perception.
It's their perception, but it's, if you really are offended at something, why are you offended at it?
Right.
Why does that joke offend you? Because it's one thing to be offended by something, and then it's another to be offended by a joke about that thing. Yes, it may be a little insensitive to you, but there's a lot of people who might not even know about that subject who now are hearing about it for the first time.
Yeah.
And now they're becoming aware of that subject, knowing full well that what the comedian's saying is not, like, if I know people know about spousal abuse, and it's not something to joke about, but if a comedian were to say something, if people didn't know about that,
right,
and a comedian said something about hitting their wife or something, well, you might be like, that happens to people? Like, really? It does?
Right.
But in your head, you're not thinking, well, that's okay.
Right.
Like, you understand that that's not okay. You're laughing at it because you're in a room where you're understanding that we're going to say things that come in a form to trigger a response, and we're not trying to trigger a mob.
Yeah.
Right? You know, but sometimes that's what happens. So, but I think comedy is just very dynamic, and it's not going to break any of my limbs.
Right.
So
you just have to duck if somebody's throwing that tomato, though.
Yeah. If somebody says, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, I'm just going to run backstage. So
fair.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, the pros and the cons are of being a stand-up comic?
Well, okay, so let's see if I can list them off. Pro is you get to say whatever you want.
Okay.
Con is that you might find out that you don't have the best ideas.
Okay.
Pro is there's a lot of different types of people and good people. Con is there's a lot of scumbags. Let's see. Pro, you can make money off of making people laugh.
Okay.
Con is there's a lot of people who just want to make money and don't really care about comedy.
I see. Yeah.
Which, by all means, get your money. It's a business. But, remember, what you're there for, and it's different for everybody, but it's just a shame for, I think, anything. It's the same with martial arts. We have the schools that just push out people to get the money. There's no integrity behind it.
Yeah.
Let's see, pro. I mean, there's a lot of pros. This could be a pro or a con depending on how you look at it, but
we'll say it's a 50-50.
It's one of the only, I think, jobs where your job is to go out, laugh, drink, and if you want, smoke or whatever you do. You know?
Right.
I think that's one of the few, like, I don't think there's any jobs besides maybe like a bourbon taste tester or something. I don't know, whatever, where, and even then, I don't think you're going to be laughing as much as you will at a comedy club, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that could go either way. If you are a recovering alcoholic, then probably not the best for you. So, but hey, if you are a recovering addict, then it is a great willpower, test for you to go do comedy.
For sure, yeah.
Unfortunately, well, that's, I guess, a con you could say, is that a lot of comedy clubs, because of the nature of comedy and the freedom of speech that comes with it, are held in places where you're going to be able to say those things. So a bar is usually the place where people will just say whatever, right? So that's where a lot of the comedy clubs are held and the open mics are held. So, yeah, if you're somebody who wants to be sober and doesn't want to be around that stuff, but you want to do comedy, that's a very tough thing to be a part of, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sure there's tons of pros. I love it. I mean, it's just, you get to meet other funny people, and you get the opportunity to watch other people become successful.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where it's like such a step-by-step process. Watching someone who, when I first showed up, was only in 6 months into comedy, and now they're 9 months or almost a year in, and they're just getting booked for their first show.
Yeah.
And just being like, okay, cool, that's gonna be me soon, and they're gonna get to do their shows and get booked, and watching someone else last minute get booked for something. It's just cool. It's cool to see other people take that next step and know that we're all gonna be doing it in 5 years from now. It's like if you look at the Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and David Spade and those guys that all kind of came up in that tight-knit group.
Yeah.
It's like you get to, especially coming from someone who didn't come up with a lot of friends. So now it's like I get to go out and hang out with these people, and we're all just hanging out, laughing, having a good time, and then we do it again next week. It's a really good, fun thing to do. Even if you don't want to do it as a career, I'd want to do it as a career.
Right.
But even if you don't, just to be able to go and have fun and test yourself. And for a lot of people, it's not even about really telling jokes as much as it is getting over the stage fright of getting on stage and speaking in front of people. And some people don't realize that once they do that, how funny they really are. And then other people, for them, it's like, man, I'm just glad to be up here and talk for 5 minutes, and every once in a while I get a chuckle or a laugh, which is more than some people think they're gonna get. And it's a very at its core, it can be wholesome, and at its core it can be just like brutally truthful. Right? So it can come in a lot of different forms, which I think is very cool too. Depending on what style of comedy you do, there's a lot of clean comics that say nothing. There's a lot of clean comics that get a good point across. There's a lot of dirty comics that say nothing, and there's a lot of dirtier comics that get their point across and really have a message. And so if you just think like, oh, comedy's just for laughs, you're not looking at the right comedians.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what I want George Carlin, and I want to hear what he's going to say. And other times, I want Rory Scovel, who is just, whatever he comes out of his mouth is funny.
Nice.
Sometimes it's he says something that you're like, oh dang, and most of the time it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I could honestly, comedy is now in my, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's something that is going to be part of my life forever. It's like martial arts now.
Yeah.
Like I could sit here and talk about comedy for hours, like, and then be like, oh my god, what time is it?
Right.
I want to talk a little longer, you know, like, and I do that after mics. It'll be like 9 o'clock, and the next thing I know, it's 11 o'clock, and I've been standing out in like 20-degree weather talking to this dude about, you know, what would make a good sketch and what, you know, can we punch up this joke, and that's how I know that we're both gonna be doing this, you know. So yeah, for sure.
You mentioned a couple of great comics. You have mentioned David Spade. You have mentioned Adam Sandler and Chris Rock. All of them are great stand-up comics. All of them have actually done pretty good on film and, you know, transitioning into film and doing comedy films and so forth. So do you think that for you being a stand-up comic, do you think that this might segue yourself into maybe doing comedy movies in the future if the opportunity does present itself?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely would. No doubt about it. Because, again, for me, it's the person that I'll be portraying is not, you know, me.
Right.
Not the same person I am on stage, and the person I am on stage is just a little bit upgraded version of who I am in real life. But even so, I think a lot of people would be surprised to see just how goofy I can get.
Right. Because
a lot of people haven't seen that side of me. But, no, I would definitely do film. I mean, like, that's the thing, is like I have that martial arts background, so I can do these martial arts types films, but being in comedy and I've always liked acting too, you know, so I think whatever film I would be happy to be a part of. A comedy film, I mean, I know Miscalculated was a action comedy,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's pretty much my genre, action comedy, right, at this point.
Go.
So
yeah,
right, for sure.
Well, I want to commercialize you for a second because I know that you have some upcoming dates, and I actually have it written down, so I got to thank my man Hector for that. If you want to see Zach Malakoff in action and to see him do what he does in stand-up, we have 3 locations and 3 separate dates. On January the 26th, 2024, on a Friday night, he will be over at Solly's Tavern, located over at 1942 11th Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. In February the 21st, 2024, on a Wednesday night, you'll be able to see him at Magooby's Joke House over at 9603 Dorico Road in Timonium, Maryland. So Timonium is basically on the way to Towson, Maryland, off of 695. And to be determined somewhere in March at the Gas Money Funny, 6914 4th Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. So those will be a couple of times and opportunities that you'll be able to see my man Zach do his comedy routine, being a stand-up comic. Please go out and check him out and support this brother because he's a great guy. He's a funny guy. You know, as a stand-up comic, you know, they're artists. They're performance artists. And I think that, if anything, they might be like, you know, a cheap way to actually, you know, de-stress your levels of health in a good way. So it's good therapy.
I'm cheap in every way. So,
jeez.
No. Do you mind if I plug a couple of things too?
Yes, sir.
I do a lot of open mics. If you're in Frederick at Cellar Door on Tuesday nights, they do an open mic, comedy open mic. On Wednesday nights in Rockville, a lot of times I'm at Give a Hoot in Gaithersburg, Rockville, Gaithersburg area. Give a Hoot Comedy Club at La Mexicana Restaurant. Thursdays, a lot of times I'm up in Delizia Cafe in Frederick again. What was I gonna say? Uprising Comedy is the name, and a couple of guys that I'm coming up with that are friends of mine. Amir G Comedy on Instagram. He's really funny. And Nathaniel Scahill, two guys that I get to see a lot at the open mics and that genuinely make me laugh. There's a lot of people out there, but those guys, if you want to follow them on Instagram, and if you want to follow me at Zach Malakoff Comedy, you can find my tickets to the shows that Kim so graciously plugged in my bio, and everything coming up will be on my Instagram, and YouTube has a lot of fun clips. So I'm not good at plugging, but anyways, there you go.
Nice. Well, it wouldn't be an episode of the Kim Hoang podcast experience if we didn't do a rapid fire round, which is a whole bunch of questions that we will ask at random. It could be true, false, multiple choice. It could be a fill in the blank. It could be a realistic kind of type of question. It could be a fantasy. It could be anything. So, Mr. Malakoff, are you ready to rock and roll?
No, give me 1 second. I forgot to plug the Did You Order podcast from my friend Al Ali. It is a great podcast. You guys should check that out. And I would plug this one, but you're already listening to this, so that wouldn't make any sense. Now, last time we did this, I did not answer fast. I know you just said I didn't have to. The questions were rapid fire, but I'm going to try and answer everything as quickly as possible this time.
Fair enough.
All
right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Zach Malakoff is back for the rematch. When it comes to the rapid fire round of the Kim Hoang podcast experience, I am ready. So, I'm good. So, here we go in no consequential order.
Here we go.
Yeah. Favorite color on a car?
On a car? Ooh, black.
Nice. Favorite technique to do in a martial arts setting?
Favorite technique to do in a martial arts setting? Breakfall. That's a lie, but that's such I don't know, punch somebody in the face. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, martial arts setting. All right, go.
Favorite video game that you ever played?
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, probably, maybe.
Okay. Favorite console or video game?
Xbox, just because I have one.
Okay, fair. Who do you think did it better, Mario or Luigi?
I think they built a very good business together, and that one couldn't do it without the other. Man, who are we kidding? Mario saves the princess. Luigi, I don't know what you got going on, but you got to get your shit together.
Fair. If somebody actually came up to you and said, I want to be a martial artist, what would be the piece of advice that you would give them?
Block! And then I'd try to hit him.
Oh, God. That's fair. Favorite martial art movie that you ever saw?
Oh, man. It's been such a long time, and I wish I haven't seen John Wick yet, but it was on my Netflix, and now I wish I watched it the other day because it would have been probably my favorite. Man, I feel like... Okay, it's not a martial arts movie, but Bonnelou 13 is like a French parkour movie, and I think it's really good. It has some great martial arts moves in there, but that probably is one of my favorite action movies, and let's just go with Enter the Dragon.
That's a classic.
Yes.
That is a classic, brother. Worst thing that ever happened to you on stand-up?
No one laughed. It was a very small room, and I really don't like to blame the crowd, but it was not a great crowd, and I went up and did a set that gets laughs almost every time, or well, it would have been every time if it wasn't for this set. But I was like, man, they just did not come to laugh tonight. I can't really think of it. It hasn't been that long I've been doing comedy. I'm sure there will be very bad things to happen, which I'm looking forward to. I can't even think now of anything. Yeah, I think that was the worst thing, was just that day nobody laughed, and then I just went home and was like, dang, they sucked. That was pretty much, because it's one thing if you go up, you try a bunch of new jokes, no one laughs, you're like, okay. But when you do a set where you know this is where the laughs come, and this is where the laughs come, and this is where the laughs come,
right,
and then you just get none of it, maybe I just said everything wrong that night, but whatever. Anyways, that was a very long answer for the rapid fire questions.
That's fair. What is your favorite food of all time? That that, man, I gotta have it at least maybe once a week, if that.
Just bread, I guess. Bread and butter. I wouldn't say I have to have it once a week, but I definitely, like, if I'm hungry and you had to be like, choose anything in 3 seconds, that'd be the bread and butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very basic.
Yeah. That's how I grew up. Basic bitch.
That's fair. Mount Rushmore is a monument where it has our founding forefathers, 4 presidents. So if you could actually have your own Mount Rushmore of comedy, who would actually be on the Mount Rushmore? And again, you got to pick 4. I know.
I was sitting here like, you're asking the question. The second you said Mount Rushmore, I'm like, he's going to ask me to choose 4, but is it going to be 4 martial artists or 4 comedians? I was like, I think he asked me martial artists last time.
I sure did.
Oh, man. 4 comedians on the Mount Rushmore. Oh, it's so not a fair question, but...
I'm sorry, dude.
No, because like I said, there's so many different styles of comedy.
Right.
There's so many people who would put Dave Chappelle up there. And I would definitely... George Carlin.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, just...
That's one.
Yes. I would... If I have to move fast, I would definitely say... I'm not moving fast at all.
That's okay. Take your time with it, man.
Yeah, this one I definitely have to take, because there's so many people that are so good in so many different ways. And like, if we're talking about just stand-up, traditional stand-up, then George Carlin, you have Dave Chappelle, you have, I think even, Tony Hinchcliffe, Andrew, like, see, I'm going to start naming off a whole list of people and not do Mount Rushmore, because then if you talk about the improv comedy, you have Jeff Arcuri and Rory Scovel and Troy Bond and all of these guys, and if I had to choose 4 to listen to and nobody else again for my Mount Rushmore, George Carlin, Rory Scovel, it's so hard without a list of names in front of me, because I know I'm going to leave some off who I really like, and then I'm going to go home later and be like, fuck! And then I hope they never listen to this, because then I'll be like, why didn't you choose me? Because that's what those famous comedians are worried about. My opinion is it's what they're like. I'm gonna go listen to this podcast and hear what Zach Malakoff has to say about me.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, especially George Carlin. That's the first person he's gonna be like, I need to listen to this podcast.
Oh, rest in peace, man.
Yes, rest in peace.
Love George Carlin. He was all time great.
Yes, no, for sure. So him, Rory Scovel. Man, Jeff Arcuri is just so good at what he does. His improv comedy is just so good. But let's say we'll go Dave Chappelle and finish it off with question mark.
It was quite okay.
Yeah,
we'll revisit this. When we get you back on here again, we'll ask that question again, and I'm pretty sure that you'll have a more formulated answer. I think, to be fair, this wasn't fair because it was sprung up on you.
Yeah, it's really hard. I was thinking about the other day who my favorite comedians are, and then once I started to think about how many of them I like, it was just like, I was like, I'm not doing this, and I really wish now that I had, because I know people are listening like, you can't put a question mark at the end of Mount Rushmore.
Why not?
Well, to those people, I hope I really pissed you off.
Dude, it's like Lay's potato chips. You just can't have one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, what's your favorite style of a girlfriend? I don't know. I mean, I can't have more than one. I have a lot of there's a lot of methods to the madness and to the equation.
Gosh.
I might like a blonde one day, and then I might like a brunette. I may like some girl that's tall. Maybe I like
I may like my current girlfriend, who's a beautiful Filipino woman, and she would kill me if she heard me say anything else. So
bless it.
that's, I mean, if I can't just have one, it would be because I cloned her. So, and she might actually get mad at that, right? What you?
To Zach's girlfriend, he loves you. Okay, he's faithful. And he's not doing anything wrong.
No, if she gets mad at anything, it's going to be that I said she would get mad.
Okay.
Why would you tell everybody I got mad at you? Why would you do that? No, she's great. And she's been very supportive of everything I've done. One of my best jokes is making fun of her. And we had a whole conversation about the same thing that I had said earlier, that it's not you. It's not really you.
Right.
And the joke isn't true. I don't want to give away the joke. So, but it insinuates that she does not have that she's cardboard.
Okay.
Let's say,
Okay.
And it's just not true.
Okay.
And so when we sit there and we kind of at first it's like, well, you're making fun of me but on the other hand, it's like, but it's not even true. So it's not a big deal because she knows how I really feel about her, and I try to take the truth and kind of just mess with it a little bit to make it funny, and so but no, she's been super, super supportive, and even comes to the shows, and I'll make fun of her, and she'll and I'll be like, and there she is right over there, and she loves that. So
bless her heart, man.
yeah seriously.
Nice.
Yeah, no. Oh, so let's go back. Mount Rushmore. I'm going to put myself on the last one because...
Ooh, that's bold.
It is, and I want to do that again just to make people mad.
Fair. No, that's fair.
I don't actually... No, I mean, hopefully one day I'll be on somebody else's... I was thinking about that today. There's always going to be somebody who thinks you're the best. Like, if you can find enough people to see you do something...
Right.
There's always going to be someone who's like, you're the guy that I want to see do it,
Nice.
Whether it's those grassroots people or just someone who's stalking you, whichever, so.
Fair. A couple more questions, and because I know that you're a busy man, and already for the fact that the time that you've given us, we cannot appreciate that enough. So we definitely thank you for that. What do you think the secret of happiness is? When somebody's asking you, what's the secret to happiness? What would you tell them?
Yeah, wow. I think a lot of people struggle with that, and a lot of comedians struggle with that.
Right.
Again, I think don't take yourself too serious, and I think that's where a lot of the jokes where people think that's offensive, and I don't want to bring up any political stuff right now.
Fair.
But if you were to say that type of stuff and people, well, it's offensive. Look, all of this political stuff, and I know that everybody individually is a person and we should care about each other.
Right.
But we're all going to be dust one day. And I know it's not a great way to end a podcast, but it's the truth. And so when you think about it like that and you realize that everybody's just taking it so serious, sometimes we need a place where we can say truthful things and sometimes non-truthful things, or whatever we want. And if we can say it in a way that invokes laughter, we're just trying to make people have a good time,
right?
With the same things that are terrible,
right?
And so that's really I think the secret to happiness is if you take yourself too seriously, then you're gonna get mad because people disrespect you, or you're gonna get mad because of how you feel about your own product that you're creating, where it's like, yeah, this is. Have pride in what you do and have pride in who you are, but at the same time, be able to be the butt of a joke. What I've realized is everybody feels comfortable laughing at other people, but if the same thing were to happen to them, they would be trying to hide and cower and do all this stuff. And look, there's things, that may be personal. Maybe you don't want other people to know, and maybe it's not funny to you when that thing happens to other people. But if I've seen people with disabilities laugh at their own disability.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm saying is if you want to be happy, you have to take what you have and you have to say, this is what I've got. I'm going to work with it. And there's going to be times where you're sad, but you'll work through it. You know, I think there's a lot of keys to happiness, realizing that you're not always going to, it's not a state that you can live in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's a place where you can always come back to if you don't take yourself too serious.
Right.
Right. I think the people, you see them really stress out because they want to do everything right. But by the time, you know, they die, they'll still be trying to figure out how to do everything right because it's finite. You know, the best you can do is pass it down.
Right.
And you can't guarantee that what you pass down is going to be appreciated. And, you know, so I think just enjoy it while you're here. Try to laugh as much as you can. And take new opportunities when they've come. You know, that's what anytime I mean, like I said earlier, I live in random, you know, so like if someone says you want to do this and I'm available, then, and I think it's fun, I'll try to do it, you know.
Nice.
So just do you. Don't worry about what other people think. And try to laugh and don't take yourself too serious.
3 more questions. It's no secret that you are a fan of the UFC. You know, and you have told me this, and I was like, oh, man, that's awesome.
Yes.
In your opinion, who is, or let's just put it this way, who is your favorite UFC fighter in the men's division, and who's your favorite UFC fighter in the women's division?
Current or of all time?
Whatever you feel.
Okay. I love Mighty Mouse. I love George St. Pierre.
Nice.
I just love the lifestyle that they live as martial artists.
Yeah.
You know, it's just good people. You know, I think when you're doing something like UFC, like MMA, you know, you've proven enough as far as how tough you are. Mm-hmm. It's like how much of a person can you be sometimes, you know? So I really enjoy seeing people who are not just, you know, jerks just because they can beat people up, you know, but whatever. I mean, that was probably the worst way I could have said that, but I'm fine with it.
Fair.
So if I had to choose, probably Mighty Mouse because we're the same size.
All right on.
So I'm like, yeah, I see myself a lot.
In him. In you.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I don't really, but I would like to. I can do a tornado kick or 3, but, you know, and then punch my hand up in the air like he does at the end of a match. But, you know, I wouldn't actually fight that match probably. But anyways, women's division. Zhang Weili.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I love like Shifu and study Chinese and Kung Fu, and so seeing someone so dominant from China, again, who's a good person, you know, who seems like a genuine person.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it just took me a second to imagine. It's been a couple weekends since I've gotten to see a UFC fight, so it's kind of been out of my head, but
yeah,
with comedy and everything. But no,
fair.
I love Zhang Weili. I love she just puts on a clinic every time. Even when she's in a tough fight, it's like, this is how you fight a tough fight with her. You know, like, not like, oh my God, how is she gonna, it's like, this is how you do it. This is how you lose and then come back and take it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I love her mentality and just, yeah.
Nice.
For sure.
This one's going to be a fun one because this question is, if you were actually invited to dinner and you had 3 other guests to sit with you in that dinner, who would it be? Now, it could be somebody that's alive or dead. It could be somebody famous or non-famous. It could be somebody that you know personally. It could be somebody that you don't know at all. So who would fill the other 3 spots?
Oh, man. Well, I'm a very awkward person.
Okay. Well, hey, we're all awkward.
For sure. But like when I get goofy, I have to like that's my toughest thing on stage right now is trying to bring out my inner self from when nobody else is around, right?
Right.
Because it's very, very different. It can get very different from my person who's just around in the crowd or whatever.
Right.
And so even when I walked in on set here, and I know all of you guys, I still kind of walk in and like kind of just shift to the side and kind of like observe what's going on first. And I know all you guys. And so it's like, I try not to get starstruck, but like immediately if I think like Joe Rogan, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to Joe Rogan. I'm going to sit there at the table like, just like, I don't, how are you? You know, like any question I could imagine is going to just go out of my head. So I could probably say like, I would like to sit with a lot of high level comedians like George Carlin and like these people. But honestly, if I sat with them, I probably wouldn't get much out of it because of just the first awkward if I was guaranteed a second or third dinner with them, I would definitely take the first where I could break the ice.
Yeah.
But no, if I could with anybody who would be there, that's an interesting question. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, probably. You know what? I probably would say George Carlin because I do feel like he wouldn't let me be awkward.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be like, cut the bullshit. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
like,
Yeah,
right,
I could see that,
right, you know what I
actually.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just us at the table, you know. Fuck what everybody else thinks.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I could totally just sit there at the table with him and be like, you ever notice that the people who don't want abortions are the women you wouldn't fuck anyway? Like, I did notice that, George. I did notice that. So Marcus Aurelius, George Carlin. Let's see. Man, that's a good question.
Got one more.
My lovely, beautiful girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
Yes, more than fair. It is the first person I should have chosen. I do not have a red dot on my forehead right now. I
would hope not.
I totally would invite my lovely girlfriend.
Just because you said that's guaranteed that you will not be in the doghouse, my friend.
Well, she's in the Philippines for another week, so I have like, you know, a good week to like barricade the door and
Oh man. Last question.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now when it comes to like, you know, when it comes to stand up or if it comes to acting or anything or martial arts? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I'm gonna be doing stand up. I'll be traveling, doing stand up by 5 years from now. 100%. I'm gonna be doing shows. People will be coming to see me do shows. I'm not trying to be egotistical, but like I'm from what other people have told me, this is something I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, and I think I'm good at it, and I think I need to work hard at it, and I want to work hard at it, and I want to like. People keep saying you can't be a good, or you're not going to be a good comedian for the first year. You know, like a lot of people have to go 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Some people go 10 years. You know,
right.
Before they get big or whatever. And I took that as a challenge. So for me, I'm like, I need to make these jokes work, and I need to get this out, and I need to go on stage, and I need to do this. And if I could go up every night, I would go up every night.
Right.
You know, the area we're in isn't really the best area for that.
Yeah.
But I go up every time, every week, as much as I can. And this is the thing. You know, if I end up not being able to do jiu-jitsu professionally, I know that I'll be able to do it for the rest of my life, and I want to be able to support it with comedy.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's very interesting that we're talking about that because I've still had to come. It's been a very short transition so far as like I just started doing comedy and having to be like, okay, this is something I want to do, and if I do this, I can't really train for jiu-jitsu as much, and
Right.
you can't really train for jiu-jitsu anyways because you're injured. So it's kind of like a thing that I'm dealing with personally, but I'm very blessed to have found something that can take my attention away from that.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I can be successful in.
Yep.
And so 5 years from now, I truly believe that I will be selling out shows, because I'm going to put that much effort in over the next 5 years where people are going to want to come see me, and hopefully they think I'm funny. And if not, if you come see me at a show and I'm not funny, buy tickets to the next show and throw stuff at me.
Damn.
Like, look, that's all I care about. Okay, so I'll get at least 2 shows out of everybody. The first one to see if they like it, and if they do like it, they'll come to more. And if they don't like it, I am just buy another ticket, and we'll bring some, like, I don't know, some Rotten Tomatoes, or that's the classic. Whatever, I don't care. Pies, whatever.
Oh, man. Well, Zach, you have handled the rapid fire rematch very well, my dude, and I have to say that
Thank you, brother.
It is great to see you once again here in person, and to be a guest on the Kim Hoang podcast experience. Obviously, during that time frame of when I've interviewed you that first time on season 1, and now we're on season 3, you definitely did a lot of soul searching, and you did a lot of evolving. And it's been serving you very well, man. It really has. And, continued success to you in your endeavors, not only in acting, but also in the stand-up world. I definitely have to catch one of your routines when,
for sure.
Because, I always like to support my friends whenever I can. At least if I can do it one time, I can say, hey, I checked out what he or she did,
Yep.
and I know that this is something of, your passion right now, and you're very, you're really locked in.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I wish you the best of luck in that, man.
Thank you, brother.
This is the part of the show where if you want to say anything, any closing thoughts, if you have anything that you want to plug, or any upcoming shows, but I think I already covered that.
Yes, you did.
If you want to say anything right now to all your fans and supporters, please feel free to say something. I mean, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to put out a video, but this is a good place just to say, anybody who's supporting me now, it's ground level, so I've always been the type of person to look at something and be like, man, I really wish I could have gotten, on board with that and been a part of the foundation of that, because you don't get to be part of that twice,
Right.
And so there's a lot of people that are supporting me right now. Like I said, I just started my YouTube channel in November, and I'm actually going to try to take a little bit of step back from that and just focus on being funny. I'm not going to completely go dark, but just not post as much or whatever.
Right.
But even that's been doing well for me for such a short time, being on YouTube for like less than 2 months, and I've gotten 40 subscribers and over 15,000 views, and it's that's really cool. It's just telling me that I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah.
But everybody who's supporting me, I really appreciate it. Anything you do, you can't do it without other people. In this day and age, there's always a consumer on the other end. But with comedy, there's no middleman.
Right.
So you're either supporting me or you're not. And so a lot of people have really supported me, and I haven't really done anything where people have continued to come and support me the way that people have been.
Right.
And I really appreciate it. Like, I can't express enough. And as comedians, like, we just want to joke and joke and joke, and it's hard for me to not just turn around and turn this into a joke right now. Mm-hmm. But it's true. We appreciate the people that come see us so much. We make fun of you guys, and we'll but we can only do that because you're there,
right?
And you come to see someone do that, and have a good time. So I will say it over and over again throughout years to come, but especially for everybody who's getting on board now, everybody who's following me and on Instagram or YouTube, or people that are coming to the shows, from the bottom of my heart, really, thank you guys for sure.
Zach, again, much continued success to you, my man. I mean, seriously, I'm looking.
You as well.
I am like seriously like looking at like the wall right now, and I think that the success is coming.
Yeah.
And I wish you nothing but the best in that.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love to see everything that you've done with the podcast and just with yourself. And you know, like you said, I think we've both done a lot of soul searching. The one thing I'll take away from Cat Williams, he said the worst advice he'd ever got, and he said, is don't change.
Yeah.
Right? So always, if you know, if you're not changing, you know, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So
yeah.
So always be able to look at yourself and be honest with yourself, right? And I think that you are a great example of that, and I will always try to be a good example of that. But you know, so I really appreciate you, Kim, and having me on the podcast again. So.
Yes, sir. You already know it. And again, like, you know, anytime that you want to run it back, you have an open invitation to come back anytime that you want, bro. Whether if you want to just be a guest and talk more about whatever it is that you're doing, or if you just want to be like a special guest host or whatever, man, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Open invite, bro.
Oh, yeah. I'll host somebody, man. I'd definitely have to write some stuff down because I'd be scared what I might say if I'm the special guest host. Yeah, I would have to get a little bit of a script going.
Well, so. Over here it's no holds barred, man.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, all right. We put that disclaimer in the front of the episode for a reason. So, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, if you do like it, that's cool. But if you're just kind of, easily offended, we did put that disclaimer out there. And
Yes.
if you do listen to it and you say later on that you don't like it, you can't blame me because I warned you.
Right.
I warned you.
Hey, what was that episode that Kim's podcast got canceled? It was the one after Zach hosted?
Oh,
okay. Oh, man, no. I mean, it's great. Season 3, right? You said?
Season 3.
Man, that's awesome because it was, like I said, a foundation, right? There for episode 4, and it was, I mean, I feel like we knew, but it's still crazy to see years later.
Right.
And look back and be like, man, trying to get the dogs to stop barking, going outside,
Yeah.
But no, man, really happy for you as well, and continued success all around for everybody, and everybody doing the film too. I'm sure they'll hear this, and man, all great people. So everybody deserves the best for sure.
For sure, no doubt. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where we kind of, lay it as it lies, as they say in the business. And I'll try to wrap this up real quickly because after 3 seasons, you thought that I would be able to do it so well. I suck. So, I mean, let's just keep it going. So, go ahead and find me on Facebook. You definitely can search me under the search box, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Find me, add me, follow me. I'm there. We do have 2 social media platforms in Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow me at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters, no spacing required. Follow me and I'll follow you back. We have 5 podcasting platforms in Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Now, do me a favor. Like and subscribe to my podcast on all the podcasting platforms. If you do have Spotify, please give me a 5-star ranking. If you have Apple Podcast, please give me a 5-star ranking and a positive written review, because the more times that you do that per podcasting platform, it'll most likely go to the head of the class. And then somebody like our boy Damron Kirby might say, yo, this is the dude I was telling you about in the podcast, and it's funny as fuck. Yes, go ahead and, listen to that shit, please. And even do the old school. Tell your friends about it face to face. Put it out there on any social media outlet because, again, we got that Facebook. We got that Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. We got Snapchat. Hell, we got TikTok. Put that shit on. Like, for real. Do that. Do that stuff. And last but not least, if you want to be a special guest host, if you want to ask a question for our Q&A form, and or if you have any constructive criticism, email me, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put it in that subject box. Whatever you got to say in that email, put it in the body of it. Send it out. When I get it, I'll read it. I might get back to you within 1 or 2 days because I do like reading that stuff, and I do love proper correspondence. And that's all I got to say, folks. I mean, it's always been real. It's fun to be out over here and do my thing in the booth, or in this case, the traveling booth. And, yeah, you know, like I've always said, guys, as long as you want me to keep doing this, I will keep on doing it because this podcast cannot function without the love and support that you, the public, give. Because, you know, I do it for you guys. I mean, yes, I do it for me too, but I do it for you guys as well. Last but not least, guys, please be safe out there and do the right things in life because it doesn't do me any good if your ass dies and you land in a pine box and you get buried 6 feet under because we don't want that stuff to happen.
How are you going to buy tickets to my show?
Yeah, right. How are you going to buy tickets to Zach's show?
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on now.
Think about the things that matter, people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, on the series, we want you to be healthy.
For sure.
We want you to be happy.
Take care
We
of
want you
yourself.
to be in a good headspace because, you know, you deserve it. And God damn it, you know, everybody deserves it. If you not who, then who else? And you guys deserve it because, you know, I love you guys and I want what's best for you in the world. So, for the one time here in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, at the Kicked Up Fitness Gym Studios, and for my guest, Zach Malakoff, the one and only talented, you know, stand-up comic that also does acting and is a badass martial artist. I am the host with the most, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, saying thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to do this again. You know, season 3 is still young and it's still popping. And I got to say, I love each and every one of you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Deuces, we are out.